folks, and welcome back to the French Foe Series, Season 4, Lunar League. I'm your friendly neighborhood Shoutcaster Shargan, once again joined by Lolo.
Hiya, how you doing, Shargan? We saw a pretty one-sided affair the first game, and I'm looking for a slightly more competitive second game here. We're seeing some comfort being taken off the board from both sides right now. The Malzahar is Fro Murphy's most played champion, I believe. So whilst he is in the bot lane, I mean, it is a possible bot lane pick, potentially a flex. And on the other side, I mean, you mentioned that there isn't as much assassin jungling in this league, but I believe Idris does like a little bit of that. So the Echo, the Nocturne being taken off the board, some things that he's quite comfortable on, and stuff to try to make those solo lanes as difficult as possible for the side of FS.
Yeah, he does take the Echo. He has taken the Nocturne, so we have seen a little bit of the assassins in that sense. I was thinking, honestly, when I said assassins, I was thinking more of like assassin mids, like Talon.
Oh, right, yeah,
specifically. That was more of what I was getting at, where we just have a tendency for like the Rise, the Morgana, the Corki's an interesting pick, but I wouldn't call him an AD assassin. But either way, we see right here the Nocturne and the Echo have both been taken off the board for Idris. So most likely we'll be seeing his Jarvan or Xin Zhao coming up.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, of course, all of those assassins are in the jungle now on this patch, so he could be trying for a Zed or a Talon if he feels like it. But either way, the Nautilus is going to be coming out for Table Davis, and on the flip side, we've got a Kha'Zix. Beautiful.
There we go. Yep. I am excited for that. We have not seen him play Kha'Zix yet this season, but that's going to be really, really exciting. And then on the side of Fraud Squad, picking up that Nautilus, I'm trying to think here where Table Davis, I don't think we have had, yeah, he's played Nautilus a couple times. That seems to be his most popular pick. 26 assists in his first game. So that was, he likes that champion, does pretty well on it. So I think one thing that's going to be kind of interesting is like that we have right now is we've got the 3-5 team versus the 5-3 team, and then in the next game we've got a 3-5 team versus a 5-3 team. So that'll be kind of interesting.
Yeah, this is really going to be stacking up the standings for as we move ever closer to playoffs. We do see the Jinx picked up. Obviously, we're going to be looking for some hard scaling for Fro Murphy right now. The Nautilus, of course, going to be providing a lot of support in that lane to give the time to get online. The Galio is very flexible here. They could be put into the mid or support. I think I'm more likely to see it in the support role just because Pro Lucal is more comfortable on the champion. And the Ezreal in response, very, very strong still. And against this Lee, I mean, we know how good Lee is. Like, he's such a strong jungler right now. Despite the sort of changes that have happened over the last couple of patches. I mean, IOM, it is one of his most played champions. I mean, I'm interested that he hasn't picked up the Fiddle. However, it would be quite a tough matchup into the Kha'Zix, I think. So a little bit less surprising there. But either way, it will be quite interesting to see how this jungle matchup plays out, especially if they do meet 1v1 in the river and who gets the better of that.
See, IOM is actually one of the... this is actually his first time on Lee Sin that we've seen this season. He has traditionally played much more like tanky or hard engage kind of a thing. So like the Jarvan, Xin Zhao, Sejuani, like that's more of what we've seen him on. So it's going to be really interesting seeing him on something that's so micro intensive as a Lee Sin. Really looking forward to seeing if you can get some of those nice insect under tower kicks off. That'll be really nice.
Yeah.
And I do want to say, just straight off the bat, I like Jinx as an ADC. I think Jinx is probably one of the strongest ADCs in the game, just like from the versatility aspect. She's got great range, she's got great ability to take down towers, and that movement speed boost if she gets an assist or a tower, it's so useful for helping her get in and out of these fights. And I really think it's kind of slept on. I know a lot of people pick them up. I just feel like Jinx does not have the spotlight that she should.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, I mean, we are going to be seeing. There were quite a lot of bans, in fact, mostly towards top side in the second rotation. Team H Block did, predict that we are going to be seeing something a little bit tankier in this top side, and we're going to see the Ornn coming out here. Ornn has been having a really good time, I think, in competitive play in general recently, where he has been picked up, certainly in things like LCS Proving Grounds and so on. Very, very strong win rate. He just has so much value as the game carries on and those items come online. And against it, H Block, Jita's going to be fielding this Renekton. It is going to make the Ornn's life a little bit trickier in the early stages. We know how much of a bully this champion is, but if he can weather the storm in the early game and try to play out whatever aggression that Idris puts on him on the top side, then he is going to be in a very strong position in the late game once he scales up a bit. So this is going to... The Nico, we do like this. This is one of Gouchmaster's preferred champions, I believe. So it's going to be quite an interesting matchup in this mid lane. We do see, of course, the LeBlanc being taken, which is going to confirm the Galio's being moved into the support position. Nico LeBlanc. Now, Nico has ways of locking down LeBlanc when she goes in for early trades, because she's got the root on her. So HBlock is going to be a little bit careful that he doesn't overextend, I think, especially when this Lee is going to be able to come in with a nice big engage, as you said, potentially get something under tower. So she is quite slippery. She's not the easiest champion to gank at all, but if Gouchmaster can lock her down, then we could be seeing some momentum for the side of Fraud Squad in the mid lane.
Exactly. I think that's going to be really, really interesting, is just seeing that mid lane boost with HP. So H-Block is one of those really scary mid laners because he's really good at Zed. He's really good at LeBlanc. And so he's really good at those jump in type characters. And so, like, I know that I said that we don't see a lot of assassins, but he's definitely one of the people to pull them out. And unfortunately, it's so scary to go up against. I'm really kind of worried for Gouchmaster on this Nico, just because of how deadly we've seen the LeBlanc be. I'm trying to see right here. If I remember correctly, we have seen H-Block go 12-0-6 in one of their games and 13-1-11 in the last LeBlanc game.
Good lord. So really,
this is going to be really, really scary in the mid lane.
Absolutely, yeah. And as we jump into the Rift here, we're going to be seeing something fairly standard. Well, relatively standard. I mean, IOM is going to be putting down some very deep vision onto the red buff. That is going to allow him to see where Idris is going to be pathing and potentially protect Papa Bear if we do see some early aggression onto the top side. And he's going to be starting on his blue. So he is going to be looking to potentially roam down and try to put some pressure potentially onto H-Block, actually, and try to shut down this LeBlanc before she comes online and becomes this nightmarish problem that you described. So we'll see if he's able to stop H-Block from snowballing.
All right, we'll see if he's able to do that. I do like Idris picking up this Kha'Zix. It's going to help him do really well in the jungle against this Lee Sin, because in a 1-to-1 he's going to have the advantage over the Lee Sin just because of that passive damage buff that he's going to have fighting him one-on-one like that. So that could be really, really interesting as we go further into this game. We do see that it's going to be a buff clear for the side of Lee Sin. He's going to be looking for an early gank, most likely. Kha'Zix, in the meantime, decided going to his Wolves, going to his Gromp, most likely going to be looking for a bot side gank here momentarily, trying to anticipate IOYM's current invade. We might be seeing a fight around Scuttle Crab, which I think will be really, really interesting.
Yeah, and we see a little bit of aggressive trading.
Ooh,
very aggressive trading in the bot lane.
Yeah, some nice aggressive trading, and I do like the placement of those mines. Does mean that Prolupo is going to take a lot of damage, but we do have Idris already here in the bot lane. Flashes are going to be coming out. We got Take Your Tree. He's trying to get that damage, but he's not quite able to get it, but Kha'Zix is going to get the flash, and that is a third flash for the side of HBK burned, and that is a lot of resources spent for one kill.
Yeah, and no response from IOM, interestingly. He decides to move down to the Krugs instead. And only just now, with this dive...
Exactly, we have the dive at level 3. Taking tower shots means that we're going to get Prolupo taking down the Jinx, getting himself a kill, and Fro Murphy getting a kill as well. I think that was probably, honestly, the smart play for IOYM. It is going to mean that he's going to be ganking this lane solo if he chooses to go for it, but it does also mean that he can just go straight for Scuttle Crab for free, get himself an extra EXP, and oh, nope, never mind. He's going to go for the Q hit. That is a nice shot. Prolupo not able to block it, and at the same time, we have poor Nautilus right here walking right into like a nice hook, getting the root as well. That is going to be another kill for Table Davis as he picks that up, taking down Papa Murphy. In the meantime, in the top lane, we've got Jita taking that down to Ornn, and we have H-Block in the mid lane taking down Gouchmaster. Just across the board kills.
Yeah, and It's tough for IOM. He does manage to pick himself up a kill. Unfortunately, Table Davis took the second, but either way, that's going to mitigate some of that early damage in the bot side, and they're going to be able to. They've got a nice wave state right now. They can sit on this for a little while and try to allow the Jinx to farm up. However, as you said, solo kills in both the solo lanes for the side of HBK, and that's going to be looking super nice for them. So they can start. Potentially, the LeBlanc can start roaming. The Renekton is already starting to bully the hell out of Papa Bear right now, and he doesn't have too much to worry about because IOM is going to have to keep his eye on the bot side, I think, because of they're still pushed in and they're under a lot of pressure.
They are pushed in. Drake is going to be up here in 30 seconds, so that is going to be the first major objective on the board. It is going to be starting off with Infernal Drake, which means that we're most likely going to be seeing, I would expect, based off these team comps, either a Wind or an Ocean Drake.
You're going to go for a Wind or Ocean. Okay,
I'm Wind or Ocean Drake at the moment. I'll try and have one decided before the first Drake goes down.
I'm feeling Cloud, yeah. I'm feeling Cloud. I'm with you on that one. I think it's going to be... I want to see people move around the map a lot, so I'm feeling Cloud.
Yeah, I think the roaming will be really strong, plus you have the extra ultis being on a much lower cooldown, which was just perfect for Kha'Zix, perfect for LeBlanc. And that's just going to end up being really, really strong in the later stages of the game. The way these comps are set up, I honestly feel like HBK's is going to be a way easier to execute comp because it's all about killing the enemy laners and then taking objectives. So they are going to be wanting to take these team fights early as possible in order to just basically shut down Fraud Squad in order to keep them from ever being able to stand up.
And tough for IOM there because, as I say that,
Idris jumping right onto Papa Bear. He's getting that solo damage off. Look at that passive proc. It's so nasty. Good call on to which Nico was the real one, able to get that chain down. So that was really, really nice. In the meantime, though, that's going to mean that Froa Murphy and Nautilus are just going to kind of start up this Drake and try and sneak it.
Yeah, and that's really good for them right now because in that previous attempt on the lane gank from IOM, he got nothing out of it because Table Davis unfortunately missed the hook, and it did allow the Kha'Zix has a pretty sizable CS lead at the moment. Idris was able to go and steal away his opposing jungler's Gromp. I think he's going to go and take the Wolves as well. So even though he failed the gank up there in the top side, he did manage to put more pressure onto the Ornn, or didn't get a kill, but still a lot of pressure, and they're going to look for a dive.
They are going to be looking for a dive here shortly, and already they're going to get a nice knockup by Ornn. Good use of the tower by Papa Bear. Unfortunately, it's not going to matter as he's taking just way too much damage. These minions are not going to be able to do enough. Jita jumps in, but unfortunately, Idris takes 2 tower shots as he gets creep blocked, trying to get out of there.
The creep block and the little pillar from the Ornn really making problems for him trying to get out. His leap, I guess, was on cooldown, so... a little bit unfortunate. I mean, it was very good timing for them to make that dive happen at that moment. The Ornn's still level 5, of course, so not much he could do about that in that situation. He's burned the TP already as well because of that solo kill early, so he's going to be losing quite a lot of XP right now as the Renekton's going to pick up some early plates. Look how far this Renekton is ahead already.
Already 45 CS. That's going to be a nice jump onto the blue buff to try and stop Lee Sin from stealing it. Unfortunately, that means that Lee Sin's going to get caught out, knocked up by the Galio. Good charge in right there. We do have the rest of HBK going in. We have the Galio picking up yet another kill, taking the blue buff. Really good character to have it right now. And unfortunately, we have Take Your Tree stuck under tower. I'm not entirely sure what happened there. I think we had a little bit of a disconnect.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, that was very, very strange. I don't know if it's going to dissuade HBK too greatly from this because... oh dear, we are going to see
Tokyo Tree has unfortunately been disconnected. We don't have a pause coming out, so that could mean that they're just waiting for him to come right back.
Okay, he's back. All right, well, I mean, a little bit of a silver lining there for Fraud Squad. It did also dissuade the dive that they were going for with 4 members, so it's allowed Gouchmaster to get a little bit of a push in the mid lane, try to get back some priority to allow his jungler to go up and take that top side crab. He is trying to build himself back up some CS now. He's getting a little bit more even with the Kha'Zix. However, this mid lane... ooh.
Yep, nice jump in by H-Block in order to avoid the Pop Blossom from Nico, though.
Yeah.
That is just really, really gross. The distortion and the chains are just doing so much for H-Block, getting so much damage out. It's kind of crazy.
It's that and I mentioned Nico has, as I
Ooh,
say,
right there, IOM jumping in onto that, and he's unfortunately going to go under tower. He's going to take a lot of damage from that, taking a tower shot. He is going to go down, not quite able to get that shield off on Lee Sin, so that means Idris is going to take down IOM. Gauchmaster, unfortunately, taking a lot of damage, probably more than they expected from those 2 attacks from Kha'Zix, so that's going to be them walking away now. Just, you can see it right here. This is why the comp that HBK has drafted is just so scary.
It really is, and this Kha'Zix is looking pretty monstrous right now. He's already 3-2-2. He's got a CS lead. He does have, because IOM was able to go and take that crab earlier. He can't go and potentially like take the Herald, which
Ooh, nice call to me. Good amount
on.
of slicing damage coming out right there. Papa Bear trying to get a knockup, but unfortunately for him, Jita was just a little bit away. This toy is just toying with him in this top lane.
Papa Bear, though, he's looking all right. I mean,
looks like Jita wants to fight this. He's already gone in and he's got that the Dominus down, trying to get a fight going. But Papa Bear's just like, no, I ain't having none of that.
And this is the thing about the Ornn. I mean, he's got the steel caps and the bramble vest already. So these trades are looking. I mean, he's not going to be able to kill the Renekton, but it's going to be a lot harder for the Renekton to kill him at this stage. And Jita's going to put down some pressure, but he knows he can't go for an all-in anymore. So I think Papa Bear's all right with this, really. I mean, he's going to outscale, so he's just going to try to sit there, play weak side, mitigate the damage as best he can. And on the other side, it is going to allow IOM a little bit more time to, again, put his attention onto the bot side, the Drakes, and try to get Fraud Squad back into the game or get themselves more of an advantage in this way.
Yeah, as we can see, the Jinx has already been accelerated over this Ezreal. They're doing a really good job. IOM getting a nice jump in on there, going in on the Gromp, getting a good Q off. We have Oral. He's getting caught out, trying to jump out and get away. He is going to be able to do it. However, that is going to mean that IOM is going to go down while we have the rest of HBK chasing this fight down. Missiles coming out from Kha'Zix, trying to get a shot off. And I think that's going to be a nice disengage by Fraud Squad.
You see I think Galio support is underrated. I mean, I think it's strange to say that, but I'm surprised we don't see it more often because stuff like this this dive in from the Lee Sin just gets completely mitigated by the Taunt. He just gets locked down immediately and bursted. So it's really, really hard for IOM to do anything to the backline of HBK right now, just because you've got this Galio there peeling for the Ezreal so nicely, and the Ezreal, of course, can get away himself. So there aren't too many targets for him at this stage, really.
That Justice Punch is just really, really good in so many different ways. And plus, if you're able to land a nice Shield of Durand, you can get a good taunt off and everything like that. It's one of those things, though. It's like, I think this is where we're starting to see where HBK's comp is going to start running into some problems, because Kha'Zix likes to fight, but he likes to fight alone. He doesn't want his allies to be or he doesn't want his enemy to have allies with them in order for him to really get up most of his damage. So it's going to be really, really interesting as this starts to progress later in the game, where you have Fraud Squad starting to group up and go for these 5-man fights, while at the same time you just have HBK that's still wanting to do these side lane fights. I think you're going to have to basically have LeBlanc just off in a side lane pushing, trying to bait out a strike, and have Kha'Zix in the wings ready to pop whoever comes to show up.
Absolutely. And even though I do agree, I mean, obviously that Idris does want to be going for those solo kills because of the isolated damage, but he's got a Galio backing him up, of course, so he can potentially dive in if he wants to. It will be a little bit trickier, especially with this Ornn that's going to be able to, as I say that, nice gank on.
Nice gank up here in the top lane. Call of the Forge God's coming out. It's going to miss, though, go wide, as that is a good prediction by Cheetah in order to get himself into a position. He doesn't want to, he's able to avoid it. We have a nice kickback, though, although the ultimate coming out from Cheetah. Dominus is going to keep him alive. Look at that. That was a really good fight. He used up a lot of resources, though, on the side of Fraud Squad.
Yeah, and crucially, Cheetah kept his flash throughout that entire thing with this between the Slice and Dice and the Dominus, no problem.
This flash, he does have TP coming up here shortly. We have the rest of HBK now trying to collapse onto this IOIM. They are going to be able to pick him up. We have poor Ornn trying to put some fight off as well, but unfortunately it's not going to matter. Galio bringing in the Grand Entrance in order to try and get the nice resistances off. Good Pop Blossom for Nico's. They are trying to continue this fight, and that is going to be Idris going on a rampage as the damage just isn't enough on the side of Fraud Squad, as they are able to stay alive and they're able to take out yet another member of Fraud Squad.
And I mean, that's it right there. Like, even though Idris does want to be, you know, the damage isn't quite as much as if it was a single target. He doesn't care because he's got it. He's got this his entire team backing him up there, and he still does ridiculous amounts of damage to everything that isn't an Ornn right now. And right now, Tokyo Tree
is doing a decent amount of damage down here in the bot lane on this Ezreal. He is kind of like Ezreal's just going to be a little bit weaker than Jinx. I think early on, just kind of like from a wave clear standpoint, I just feel like Jinx has a much stronger wave clear. Look at this distortion jumping right in on top of Gauchmaster. That's going to be a lot of damage coming out, but it's not going to take him down. As the ignite is just not quite strong enough. Good avoiding of the taunt from Galio. Well, we have IOYM trying to find that hit, trying to land that Sonic Wave, isn't quite able to do it. In the meantime, that's going to mean HBK is going to go back. He's going to get some nice gold for himself, build himself up a couple of items. One thing I think is really interesting to point out right now, he is not steamrolling like he usually is. They have done a good job shutting his lane down to where he's only really able to CS, but at the same time, Nico is keeping up and doing a really good job.
Yeah, she is. Gouchmaster, you know, we saw in that previous engage the Pot Blossom doing a huge amount of work, dissuading the hard engage from HBK. So in the later stages, they have a huge amount of CC to lock down this Kha'Zix, this LeBlanc, if they manage to pull it off correctly. We will have to see if they're able to do that, because as we saw with IOM trying to get onto HBK and him getting out with just a sliver, this Galio walking in to completely, you know, wall him away from any potential follow-up. It is still very difficult to get onto some of these carries. They have so many mobility options.
So many different, like that's the thing with HBK's comp right now. It's like no matter which one you're trying to engage on, they have some way to jump on top of you or to jump away. Look at that nice hook coming out. It's caused Purluple to get pulled back into this. He's going to be trapped right now. We have the Justice Punch trying to get away, but it's not going to matter as IOM does manage to take him down. Good use of the damage from the Jinx and the Lee Sin right here, and that's going to be what the Fraud Squad is going to need to look for during these fights. They've got the CC advantage on a lot of this mobility, where if they can get onto the right target, they can hold them in place long enough to take them out of the fight, or at the very least force them to have to run away.
Yeah, and Purluple there, of course, I mean, if they do just try to pick the Galio, like, there's only so much peeling he can do for himself, unfortunately. So he is going to be back up, and he is hopefully going to be able to get down here just as this Ocean Drake spawns. You did call it more or less right, by the way. It is an Ocean Soul this game.
I guess my mojo's back. Ooh,
yeah.
Pop Blossom popped probably little accidentally. I don't think that was intended. Or maybe they were expecting a distortion dive.
Potentially. I mean, either way, it takes that huge CC tool for Fraud Squad out of the fight. And
ooh, that was Sonic Wave had hit, so Lee Sin could have tried to dive in and get it, but he didn't have the ward to just kind of ward hop away, so that would have been really, really risky.
Yeah.
Idris, in the meanwhile, just kind of right there, clearing out that vision in the mid lane.
Yeah, and I mean, Purluple was priming the Shield of Durand. You mentioned previously, like, even if he goes in, he probably dies for it if he gets taunted. So it's not really worth. Yeah, they're not going to lose too much from this. I mean, it is still quite a sizable gold lead right now, of course, for the side of HBK. They do have...
Ooh, right here, Idris jumping right onto YM. We're going to have to see Lee Sin kick him away just to stay alive. He does not want to continue that fight.
No, and Idris is a bit monstrous right now. He's already sitting on the Eclipse. He's got 6 kills to his name, a CS advantage, and he's got all the priority he needs right now to potentially move over and pick himself up this Herald. So no turrets have been taken yet. This is a much slower game, despite how... a slower game than the previous one. It's hard to be, you know, it's not much to say that considering how fast the previous game was. But 17 minutes in, no turrets down. They are going to be trying to look to potentially put this into the mid lane, I would suspect, and try to unlock the map so this Renekton and this LeBlanc can start roaming.
Yeah, we are seeing some decent damage starting to come out from this Nico. That Blooming Burst getting that triple shot off, doing a lot of damage over time. It's just, unfortunately, I feel like it's nothing like a Sigil of Malice at all. Like, it's just, the amount of damage just isn't comparable.
No. I mean, once she's got herself a second item, I mean, you do notice that Gouchmaster's picked himself up a Dark Seal. Well, he started with it. It's got a little bit of stacks on it. It is going to... he does do a lot of damage. Nico can do a lot of damage if she manages to get a couple of items, but...
Ooh, that was a max range dredge line right there. Really nice hit.
Nah, yeah, it was pretty beautiful, but ultimately with the Galio there, it's not going to amount to anything too much. It's it's just so difficult to get a pick onto this comp. The Nautilus, he can pop his depth charge on one of the backline, but ultimately they'll probably just dash away. Like,
Yeah.
The engage just isn't there really. They can layer it for sure. I mean, when they've got the Call of the Forge God, the Pop Blossom, the depth charge as well. If the Jinx can just be there, she's doing quite well. She's building herself up to what's likely going to be a Rune Arms as a second, maybe a PD. No, he doesn't manage to stop the back. Okay.
No, we did have a cheeky true shot barrage stop earlier. That was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Oh no, Kha'Zix jumping right into the Pop Blossom. It's gonna get rooted, but it's not gonna matter as the damage is just too much. Oh man, poor old Gouchmaster just going down.
Nah, this Nico isn't really able to split push like the LeBlanc right now because she has.
Pro Lupul's the one who's getting caught out now. Gets Dragon Strike back into Fro Murphy and to the Nautilus, so that means he's going to have to try and flash over the wall. Preemptive flash from IOYM does mean that that's going to be a nice block up. We have the kill being stolen by the Death Charge, and the rest of Fraud Squad trying to dive under this turret, but just doesn't have the tank in order to finish it off.
And they're trying to get themselves up. They're going to have to retreat, I think, because they burnt so many key resources in that fight. Tokyo Tree was left relatively untouched. He did have to burn his flash. Which is a little bit crucial as as Fraud Squad are posturing around this Baron, which is about to spawn. They have a very, very slow Baron, so I don't think they have any business in trying to take this. They're just trying to dissuade any, potential setup from the side of HBK, who have, at this stage of the game, a somewhat faster Baron.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. And a lot more priority. So...
I think they're just trying to build up the priority to protect this top lane turret because they've already taken bot down. They did drop the Rift Trail down there, and it got the second charge off. So that bot lane turret is very, very low, and this top lane turret is basically just ready to fall.
Yeah, it is. And G-Day's had a pretty fine time of it in this top side. Oh, the Ornn's level 13, by the way. That means I can start calling out Ornn items because I love doing that. I know it's very annoying. So he's got himself the Forge Fire Crest already. He's going to start moving, probably putting it on IOM with the Ceaseless Hunger. But he does pretty good wave clear at this stage of the game. It's Jita can't really siege this turret alone. And he doesn't really have any team members around. So he's just going to be sitting there and just trying to lock this Ornn in place. Stop a potential TP because he is down the TP advantage right now. He can, of course, come in and stun it if Papa Bear tries it under turret. So while all the members are grouping up in the bot side for this Drake, yeah, these top laners Jita's just gonna try to lock Papa Bear down to stop a potential numbers advantage for Fraud Squad.
And the thing that's really great is both of them have a hard CC that they can use in order to stop the TP. So that means that they are both going to basically be trying to fight the other person for as long as possible. They're just doing their wet noodle fight up there while the rest of the fight is going down in this bot lane. Ooh, that was a good lockdown onto Idris by Gouchmaster. I think it was a little bit blind, but at the same time, it was perfect. They do manage to pick it up, and now we have the rest of Fraud Squad making a smart play, hitting right there, but you're sending H-Block over the wall. That's going to be the distortion coming out, lots of damage. We have the grand entrance coming down from the Galio, dropping on where the clone was.
Oh my goodness.
And that means that there's going to be a lot of damage coming out onto Fraud Squad as they are just not able to get away. Just look at that. We have the Jinx getting peppered in the back line. You're having to try and rush out. We have the Orange trying to get away, but that is the cancel TP. Jita going to get knocked out by the Call of the Forge God, and he's going to have to use the Dominus to try and stay alive, but it's not going to matter. He's going to go down, but that is going to mean that HBK is still able to pick up this Drake. And unfortunately, I don't know if they're going to be able to have... TP is going to come down. That's just going to be another dead target right there. We have Nico getting caught out. The clone's going to come out as well, but it's not going to be able to survive. And that is going to be HBK picking up a free kill and a free Drake.
Yeah, and for a second I wasn't looking. I thought it might be Papa Bear's TP. Of course, it was cancelled. That's just a little bit of tiredness from me. But either way, I suppose one of the things that Fraud Squad were a little bit sort of misspaced for there was when we see the hero's entrance come down from the Galio, they position themselves trying to lock him down the moment that he landed, but instead he just managed to get himself up a 3-man taunt, and all of that lockdown allowed for a 3-man true shot barrage and then just easy cleanup from Idris on the Kazakhs. So yeah, ultimately this Galio doing a huge amount of work right now. He's basically all of the CC his team needs, and the damage really is there to follow up, whereas Fraud Squad, they have all the CC they could possibly want, but the damage just isn't quite there right now.
It really isn't, and I do want to say that on the games that Pro Lupul has played, he's averaged about 23 assists when he plays support. So it's pretty gross. Like on Nautilus, he had 24 in one game. Galio's had 24 and 22. That's not including his 4 and 3 kills. So right now, look at this. We got a nice pop blossom coming out in the mid lane. That's going to be a good route onto Perluple. He's going to get stuck. We have the True Shot Barrage coming out as well, getting a lot of damage off. But unfortunately, the 2 members of Fraud Squad are going to go down. They are not able to get away. The Dredge line is going to be just short. And so that means that Fraud Squad is going to have to retreat while HBK just pushes in this mid lane.
And they got the beautiful pop blossom off, but immediately again, 3-man taunt from Perluple and follow up from Idris. That's all they could ask for, really. And again, it's just a damage difference right now. This Nico, as I said, she's having to itemize utility wise because of how easily she's getting picked by the Kazakhs, and it means that in other circumstances that pop blossom would be catastrophic, but right now it just baits her into, unfortunately, another losing fight for their team. And
it feels like Fraud Squad needs a lot of damage right now. And so I think the question is, like, Papa Bear is going to have to make a decision. I really think his next item that he builds should either be the Luden's Eye. Look at this. They've got a dive set up right here onto tower. Nice taunt from Perluple, but it's not going to matter as just this tower is getting completely shredded. Flashing away to avoid the trip mines. That was really well done. But unfortunately for IOYM, he's going to get caught out by Idris. He's going to get that Kazakhs just absolutely shredding him. The Void Spike's doing so much damage at the same time as the LeBlanc jumping on him as well. And that means that we got a nice knockup by Papa Bear just jumping in onto Idris. He's going to get riddled up, but he's not going to take the extra damage. This mid lane turret's going to fall now. The Void Spikes are going to come out. Call of the Forge God as well. Horn is blown. It gets shot out. Nice knockup onto Jita. Jita's having to use the Dominus to stay alive. He's going to jump right in, though. Go right in onto Papa Murphy. We got the grand entrance coming out right here. Nice knockup as we see Idris go legendary, taking down the Forge God. And that is going to be yet another kill for the side of HBK. And they're just going to continue this pressure.
They are, and they have absolutely nothing to be afraid of right now, because the Call of the Forge God only lands onto Jita. Jita can just pop the Dominus. He can stay alive. He's even got the hero's entrance to follow up and keep him
flash right there. Not really necessary.
Little thumbs up there from Tokyo Tree as well. He's having a pretty good game on just quietly farming away. He's not, this massive 1v9 Ezreal, because his jungler's doing that for him. But he's providing a lot of chunk from the back line, and again, this Galio is really just providing all of the support that this team could need, because on their own they have enough self heal. So they can rotate freely around Fraud Squad's jungle. IOM has very, very little control of it. We saw him get picked up there in the top side just a moment ago, and the split push now, the 4-1 that they've set up, they've got 2 turrets down in mid, 2 turrets down in bot now. Cheetah can just go and split push up there. He's got TP if he needs it to if there's any sort of engage happening. And IOM's going to try. He's going to try and get himself some vision on the Baron, but it's really just it's scraps at this point, because his jungle's been entirely picked clean by HBK.
And I've been saying that Hero's Entrance provides resistances to his allies when he comes in. I forgot that they changed that, and it's actually like a shield. It transfers his Shield of Duran's passive to his allies during that for a couple of seconds. Ooh, Fro Murphy, you don't want to be out alone whenever there's a cost in this game, especially one that has a Guardian Angel. But that Guardian Angel is going to be needed right now, as unfortunately he's going to get almost shredded. There we go. The healing, staying alive. Very well done by Perluple and able to keep him alive. However, we got the Pop Blossom coming out in the back lane, so I believe that Kazakhs did go down. We are going to see the rest of HBlock, though, push into this mid lane and start shredding the rest of Fraud Squad. Idris comes back up, gets revenge on the Nico for taking him out off screen. Double kill going over to HBlock, though, as he manages to pick up some more kills onto this LeBlanc. And already we can see so many bounties are available on this team that it's just, I don't think that Fraud Squad is going to have a chance to cash those checks.
They may even push for the end here, to be honest. I mean, IOM up in a couple of seconds. Obviously, the beautiful Ocean Soul is available, but they don't really need it at this point. And you saw all of that damage. The Jinx, she's got that Wormful and Sacrifice. Papa Bear did decide to put it onto her, but
they are looking for an end push right here. The rest of Fraud Squad is alive. Fro Murphy having to flashback, having to stay in the fountain in order to stay alive. True Shot Barrage coming out. We have the Ezreal doing Ezreal things as he's just dodging around, and the rest of the team takes down the Nexus. That's going to be a kill for HBlock, and they're going to be 6-3.
Superb. Another
well done.
slightly longer, but still extremely clinical performance from HBlock. That's going to put them, I believe, 6-3 in the standings, putting them above COF, crucially. And Well, Idris had a very nice game on this Kazakhs, to say the least.
I think they definitely did. That'll have to be something that we ask them about their draft with this Kazakhs picks. Because if you look at the comp that Fraud Squad had drafted, if they had been able to scale up into the mid and late game, they would have been able to avoid a lot of damage. But LeBlanc, Ezreal, and Kazakhs were just doing so much to them from across the map. I think we were to talk about itemization. I did see that Jinx built a Kraken Slayer. A shield bow might have been a little bit more safe, able to keep them alive a little bit longer during these fights. I can see why they went Kraken first, though, just because you're dealing with a Galio and a Renekton.
Well, it's not just that. I mean, you could see them trying to free hit in that one of those last exchanges in the mid lane, trying to free hit onto Idris as much as they possibly could. He got chunked very low. He didn't even need to pop the GA, as you mentioned, because the Eclipse Omnivamp was just enough for him. That coupled with the with just the peel from the Galio, the mobility as the leap away, he didn't even fall down in that exchange. And if they're pumping all of the damage they have into this Kazakhs, who, I mean, he's got a GA, he's got some armor on him, but even so, if they can't take him down, even when they have that much time to free fire, there really is not much else they can do. A shield bow certainly would have mitigated some of the some of the burst damage coming in from him, but then the Jinx has no damage, and that's really what spelled for it. I mean, aside from that, of course, we saw very dominant performances both from Jida and from H-Block. Even though they weren't the main focal point of the snowball that this Kazakhs was, they still did get all the prio he needed in order to make the map his plaything, and that made life ever so much harder for Fraud Squad when really they had that ultimately it was basically 3 losing lanes, and there's not much you can do as a jungler when the other jungler has free reign of the map.
And something that I think is really important to actually kind of point out, one thing that would have been really, really good for Fraud Squad in this game, I just want to say, would be Vex, who's going to be coming out here shortly.
Yeah.
Because her passive would have activated on every single ability that is available for the side of HBK, because it does affect blinks. I think that there was some question as to whether or not it does. It does affect blinks, so that means if you flash, you get marked as well. Yeah,
it does.
So
and
going to be really scary.
Against a very dash-heavy meta, all the competitive champions right now, or very, very many of them having a lot of mobility options, as we saw from HBK putting on a very nice display of that in this game. You are correct. It would be a very nice way to dash in and lock them down, which sadly Fraud Squad's comp was sort of lacking in this game. They just weren't able to get
just a little bit. I liked what they were planning on doing. Unfortunately, I feel like the execution was just that much easier on the side of HBK.
It was, yeah.
So, and with that, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We'll be right back with an interview, so stick around. Hello, folks, and welcome back. Shar again coming at you. And I've got Jita, HBK's top lane in the interview booth right now. Jita, how are you doing? That was some fantastic Renekton play.
I'm doing pretty good. It was a nice, clean game all around.
Very clean, very clean. I have to say, like, that Orin looked like they were frustrating you more than giving you trouble.
I mean, what am I supposed to do against an Ornn? This guy W's me, I lose half my HP.
Yeah, pretty much. And then he builds that bramble vest, and you're just like, oh, come on, man. Why? Why you got to do this to me?
All right, well. Pain.
So in regards, like, so top lane was the way it was. Although I gotta ask you about this Kha'Zix pickup. It looked like it was something that was a little surprising, like just how late it was picked in the draft. What was the thought process behind that?
Well, we saw that Idris's champion pool was pretty much banned out. And then we were just talking, discussing it, and then we saw there was 1 second on the board, and then Idris said last second Kha'Zix, and we just locked it in.
All right. Yeah, no, it's kind of unfortunate whenever your jungler gets targeted like that, so you got to kind of pick something last minute. But into the Lee Sin seemed like they were doing a pretty good job, able to get some really nice solo kills off. You guys had pretty good Drake control too throughout most of that. It seemed like you were tracking the jungler pretty well. He didn't really have much he could do over there.
Yeah, we tried to maintain like good vision control over Dragon, because we like to play like more objectives instead of just going for kills and stuff.
Yeah, although, like, in all honesty, just looking at your comp, that's not what your comp says. Your comp says I want to kill you rather than go for objectives.
Well, you know, that's the card game plan no matter what cards we're given.
Right. All right. So what was kind of y'all's plan going into this against Fraud Squad? Did you have kind of like an anticipation of it being a tough fight, or were you kind of like, we got this in the bag?
You know us, we're kind of confident. We thought we had it in the bag. Also, people kind of showed up last second, so we were kind of like scrambling too, because we were in an ARAM right before champ select, and it was like a 30-minute one.
So what you're saying is y'all almost missed because you were doing something else.
I was also entering in the ARAM. I had 32 deaths.
Oh wow, 32 deaths in an ARAM. Jeez Louise. Well, obviously didn't show up in this. Much more controlled, much more aware of what was going on. So it seems like you were doing pretty well, and it looks like HBK HBK is really confident on that LeBlanc pick. Can you, like, is that just like something that he just decided, you know what, I'm just gonna be a LeBlanc main at this point?
I mean, LeBlanc's one of his signature champions. Like, he got to like high plat using it, and like if we see it's not banned out, we're just gonna pick it if it's into like a good scenario. All right. In this team comp, we're kind of hesitant, but he seemed to really want to play the LeBlanc into the Nico, because he said it was a really good matchup.
It definitely seemed like it was working out in his favor, that's for sure. It looked like, and like I said, you had pretty strong control of this game throughout most of it. I think you guys did really well, and I'm looking forward to seeing some of your later matches, because I know HBK is a pretty strong team overall. So I'm like, what is like you're seeing as like your biggest rivals in this league?
I think we're probably most scared of UB. I mean, there's like some other strong teams, but UB's probably top tier for like biggest rivals.
I definitely think so. It's like they are kind of dominating the top part of this block. So you got anything to say to them before we jet to the next game?
You already know it's gonna be fucking mid diff. I don't think Civil Lock can beat H Block in lane.
All right, you don't. So Civil Lock looks like you're getting called out. You're gonna have to watch out for H Block, and that'll be a really interesting matchup. Jita, thank you so much for doing the interview.
No problem.
All right, with that, we'll be right back, folks. Just stick around. We're gonna take a quick break, and we're gonna have the next game coming up here shortly.